Good morning, y'all, or good day, and happy weekend to everyone. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful sunny day. But the storms will blowing later and cool it off. Let's see what I'm going to talk about today. Let's reflect on the week again. Back at it. So, speaking about the diddytrial verdict watch, wonder what is going to happen next week for this man. Will he do some time or will he walk free? We shall see. To me, it could go either way. Obviously, he has done some very bad things, shady things to these women. The women, most of them went into it at first consenting because, hey, it was Diddy. He's a famous star and all of that. I think out of all the women that really got a bad deal was Cassie. And then she started so young, and then she was introduced to all these things that surely her family didn't raise her doing. And then her career and her financial dependency was on this man. And so she was just locked in and probably didn't know what to do. And then all the people that she talked to really supported Diddy, not her. So she was stuck for a while and probably was scared to talk to her parents at first until it got really bad, what was happening. And, these freak offs. So, he's a freak. He's a freak. I looked up the definition of a freak just to make sure I got this straight. So it says behave or cause to behave in a wild and irrational way, typically because of the effects of extreme emotion, mental illness, or drugs. I think emotion and drugs definitely was an influence here, and he seemed to use a lot, and then anybody around him also used it, even if they liked it or not. They were introduced to it. And maybe it's a mental illness. He seemed to have like a sex addiction as well. So, and then he really, really liked baby oil. I don't know if it's the glistening or the greasiness, but this man really liked his baby oil. And I was saying maybe he should be a mascot for baby oil. Or buy stock in it. It was ridiculous with the usage. But I'm not sure, in our court system, it depends on how good your lawyer, your attorneys are. So let's see what happened next week. The jury, they went through all of this, so let's see what happened. But I think some time is needed for him. I don't know the years and stuff, but he's no angel, and he had issues, and I really do think that he may need help counseling. No, not may need help. He needs help counseling, a counselor, and probably he's been jailed now, so all that drug usage has toned down, but he needs help. Anyway, moving on from there, I'm going into what's happening in the White House, the current administration, and the White House briefing. When the press coming, they really need to change that. That's that whole thing there, and the reporters, they really can't ask the questions that they need to ask, because if they ask a question that whoever is giving a briefing do not like, they're ridiculed or called the worst media organization ever, and sometimes yelled at, and it's just do the briefing without the press there, and then do an audio, and they do the report, because that's ridiculous. That's why we have reporters. We hopefully would want the reporters to report the truth and be able to ask questions, but that's not really happening. And then the news organization is scared to have a lawsuit against them if they ask the wrong question, and so forth. So people do not rely on the news media as your main source of information, and do not rely on the government. I've said this before in other videos, and I have another thing. Do not rely on your pastors to give you information. Pick up the book, the Bible, and read it yourself, and research and seek the truth. That's my whole thing. And then I just think that the White House, what's going on there. You remember when the White House and being the president was kind of a classy thing? I think the class has left. Being raised here, and from I was a little girl, I remember when the president was going to come on TV. Being a little girl, it was a big thing. Let's see what the president's saying now. It must be important. He's speaking on TV. Now I can hardly stomach a speech, so I just watched a quick news clip to just get a quick understanding of what was being said today, because the speech, they're not eloquent. I can't handle or stomach it. I'm very old school, so from remembering, I'm just going to go back a little bit. I remember the first election that I voted in, and I was close to graduating from college. I was when Clinton was running, President Clinton, okay, back in those days. And I remember watching this man come on the show. You all, the young ones, may need to Google it, Arsenio Hall. And President Clinton, Mr. Clinton back then, played the saxophone. I thought he was the coolest thing ever, ooh. And he was sort of cute. The only other cute president I know from history was JFK. And he came on the scene. I started watching him. I thought he was the coolest thing, and I loved his southern drawl. And yes, I went with my mom to a school that, where they have the elections to do my first voting for the president. And guess what? I was a college student. I didn't even care about politics or anything. I think that man got in because I thought he was cute and played the saxophone and his southern drawl. Didn't care a thing about politics. It was all looks then. Forgive me. That's what it was. Did not care about anything else. It was image and look. To me, I base how well you're doing as a president on how well I'm doing and how the economy is doing. He did 2 terms, Clinton. I did so well in those years. It was easy to get a job. When I got out of school, it was just easy to pick up a job, any job, pick up a job. I bought my first house during his years of being president. I got married during those years, and I really didn't have any. My concerns were not financial then. It was just starting, getting my independence and moving away from my family and doing things on my own. And I think I did very well. And back then, I was raised that the Democrats were for the working class, and the Republicans were more for lining their pockets. I was raised then, but now it doesn't matter what a party you are. If I don't think you're doing well, I'm not voting for you. I'm just not voting for you. And back then, to me, the White House, there was some class. The class has been lost. Even in presentation and speech and all of that has been taken away. It's gone. And like I said in previous video, I think there's 2 sides. There's 2 sides, only 2 sides, good against evil. And we have to try to do what's right. in this war that we got involved in, I don't think USA has to be involved in all other countries' problems and issues. I think those countries and our nations need to take care of their own issues. I don't see why, but I know there's some backroom deals going on. It's either for some resource or power, and that's why we are involved in a lot of these other countries' issues. And as living in the USA, don't think that war can't come to domestic soil. It can. It can. And I want to bring up something. I think when it first came here was 911. That whole 911 with the two towers. I remember when I used to work late shifts, as I preferred it back then, and I used to wake up around noon. I would catch the noon news that came on. I was like, I'm in my bed, I do the remote, get up, see what's going on. I thought it was on the wrong channel because I saw like smoke and people running and the plane going in the tower. And at first I thought I had it on the wrong station. And I was saying to myself, oh, this is not the news. I must have it on some movie. And then, I was groggy and I started focusing and I realized this was happening here in New York. People running, playing. And Bush was president then. And I remember they showed him in a school reading a storybook to kids. And the guy came over to tell him that was happening and he looked shocked. That can and will happen again if we don't have a strong commander-in-chief that have common sense and really care about the people here. So like I said, there's only two sides, good and evil. So y'all prepare yourself, get ready, and research. Because there's a lot of things they don't tell you. There's an agenda playing out, and you wonder if we are being considered or not. But I want to wish you all a happy weekend and have a good day. And also, don't lose hope, because once you lose hope, you might as well be dead, I say. If you're a believer or you read the Bible, and I think you should pick up and read the Bible on your own. Romans 12:12, rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer, consistent prayer. Our nation needs it, and pray for wisdom. We definitely need that. So have a good day. If you like what I say, please feel free to subscribe, like, and I do this because this is kind of therapeutic for me to get things off my chest and reflect on the week. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.